GH Squad Podcast, episode 33. This week, Seth and I are holding down the fort because Mason was called in to be the lead singer for Fall Out Boy performing at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Detroit.
Was he really? Oh,
no.
Yeah. Oh,
definitely wasn't.
Oh,
and
wasn't?
Actually, that's just what I envision happening, but I'm pretty sure that venue is not even around anymore.
Is that where he is? I don't even know where he is.
I don't remember.
Can we even say?
I think he told us.
Oh, maybe it's a secret thing.
I don't think it is.
No.
Either way, you get Seth and me, and we're going to talk about retail garden centers. But first, if you don't know us, I'm Bill. That's Seth.
Yeah.
We're a couple veterans of the green industry. Every week, we sit down, usually with our friend Mason, and look at what's going on in professional hort, chat about what's going on in our gardens, industry news from the week, what we're doing at work. It's really just a casual conversation. We'd appreciate it if you thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're not following us on Instagram, do that at GH Squad Pod. Anyway, Seth, it is lovely to see you. How's it going this week?
It's pretty good. It's really rainy here, in Chicagoland. It's been raining like all week.
You guys had like tornado levels earlier in the week, didn't you?
I think
sure. I'm pretty sure like they were sheltering in some areas.
Yeah, that was Tuesday. Tuesday they had like a tornado warning. I actually worked from home in the morning, and then I came in the afternoon, and the crew was like removing a giant branch that was like out front, and so like a whole limb, sizable limb, came down by the parking lot, but did not hit a car.
Okay.
So and then it's like rainy today, and it's raining this weekend, and we've
been dodging it. It's kind of been going south of us. Like I think it comes across, and then when it gets toward Lake Erie, it just ducks south because we have had rain and some pretty heavy rain, but it hasn't lasted long. And yeah, we've been dodging it, which is good because last night the family went to Asian lanterns at the zoo, which was pretty awesome. No rain, which was nice.
Do they do any of the lanterns like where they light the candle and then it floats into the sky?
No, there's no flame at these lanterns. These are just lit up. It's like a massive installation throughout the
It'd probably be
zoo.
So it's like Christmas lights, but with square lanterns.
Yeah, but also like dragons and a giant king cobra, and it's pretty awesome. We do it every year. It's kind of a tradition.
Really? So. You did that last night?
Yeah, we got there at like 8:30 to 10:30, which is past my bedtime, but I made it. I stayed awake, but it was good. It was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, I don't know.
How are you? You're good?
Yeah, I'm great. I mean, next week, move Emma to college, so
you're gonna cry, right? I would.
Got a lot of emotions about that.
Yeah.
We can discuss that maybe next week. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, yeah. No, you don't want to get all emotional already.
No. But school starts next week for everyone else, for Jenny and Paige. So
we're already in. I had one kid start on Wednesday and one kid start on Thursday. And it's like absolute bull honky that it's full time already.
Yeah, it's early.
Yeah.
But I guess it is what it is. Everyone here is starting early because they're building a new middle school. So then there's like no half days or something. I don't know. They've got something going on where they can do construction on pretty much the same property. I don't know. It's stressing out the teachers and the students.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But other than that, it was a good week. It was busy. I don't know, it was just kind of a busy week, a lot going on. But nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing crazy. Like it's been a good mom and poinsettia season so far, from what I've heard. So I know that there's not a lot of hopefully folks' greenhouses are pretty clean and everything's just growing and right on schedule. It would be. All right. We've got two topics for today. Seth pitched them both. And you sent us this one earlier in the week in our group text. I thought it would be a really good one for the two of us. When I found out it was just going to be the two of us, I said, oh, wow, yeah, we can talk about garden center experiences. So the topic, if I have it right, is like some of the wow garden center experiences that we've had during our years of travel, visiting stores and working with IGCs. Is that pretty much?
Yeah. Because I was thinking like, I was trying to think of like, what could we talk about without Mason? Like sort of experiences you and I have had. And so before Mason joined Ball, I did Burpee. And I visited a lot of garden centers, and you were doing garden center work.
Because Burpee, that was a retail program. Like I think some might know, some might not know, but Ball horticultural licensed the Burpee name, which is sort of a family thing, but we don't need to
Yeah,
get into those details.
yeah. Burpee Seed is owned and operated by Anna's brother, George Ball, right? George Ball.
Yeah.
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 Uh, yeah. And so, yeah, I think that like there was, we had Diane Hunn,
Mhm.
which was the marketing director, back in 2007 to 12
Yeah. Right.
or
Right when
nine.
I moved from Ball Publishing into Ball
Yeah.
marketing full
Yeah,
time.
and I think she was like, like there wasn't like a consumery brand for Ball, and
Right.
I think the way I remember it, and you can correct me here, like I think she spearheaded the concept of, hey, we
Mhm.
should license the Burpee Seed name for Burpee Home Gardens and make
Yeah.
it a retail kind of brand, and
Yeah.
then we could take some of the Burpee varieties and some of the Pan Am varieties and put it into this vegetable program, and it would have a branded pot and a branded tag. Right? Did I
Yeah,
remember
I
that
think that,
correctly?
yeah. So so just I'll dial it back just a little bit because we did have a retail brand called Simply Beautiful that I was
Oh,
in charge of that
sorry.
never succeeded. It there were growers who grew it. It was in garden centers. It was a very good program, but it had its limitations and
Yeah,
yeah,
but like,
I always like to say we were a plant company. We were not a plastic pot company. And the whole branding and marketing of a consumer brand just wasn't in our wheelhouse at the time. But now we'll get to what you were saying. When Diane took over marketing, they did market research and found that the most recognizable brand names in the industry were Monrovia, Wave, Proven Winners, and Burpee.
yeah,
And
that's
she said, "Oh my gosh, we pretty much have an in with Burpee
mhm.
because George owns Burpee. Why don't we leverage that the consumer recognition of the Burpee brand, put plants in live, actively growing plants into that program?" And there was also a demand from some big growers for a branded vegetable program because they had lost their position in a lot of the big box stores for vegetables because of Bonnie's. Bonnie's was becoming a huge part of the vegetable program at big box. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it was
that's a long way of saying Seth was doing a lot on the retail garden center side. I came out of marketing and retail brand management for the independent garden center side of the business. So we were in a lot of garden centers, like a
yeah.
lot, like hundreds
Oh yeah.
every year.
I and we our paths would cross
Mhm.
at different shows, and like I would like rely on you as like, oh hey, do you know someone at this garden center that I could talk to?
Yeah.
And I remember being gone most of the summer, just driving around, and seeing garden centers. And so yes, that was kind of like the idea behind the topic. I was like, I
Right.
bet like I can think of, and I wrote down a few kind of noteworthy garden centers in different parts of the country that a lot of it was Burpee. It wasn't just Burpee.
Mhm.
And then I was thinking like you probably also have some like specific
Yeah.
ones that stand out that we could talk about. Now, a downside of the topic I did realize when I was writing stuff down is I wonder who of our listeners will be disappointed that we didn't call out their garden center.
Yeah. I was
And
thinking about that.
like, so if you're a listener and you know who you are, your garden center is one of my favorites as well, just so
Yes,
you
me
know.
too.
Yeah.
And
Um,
if I don't talk about it, it was on the list just below the
yeah.
ones that I
Like there's
need to
a
get
like
to.
it's like, see
Because
how
it's
big my
not
list
going to be a
is?
6-hour podcast.
It's
Like
yeah,
you can't. I don't have that kind of time.
yeah. But yeah, so
But
but I
and at
mean,
the
yeah.
same time, I was retail business manager for IGCs. So even when Simply Beautiful ceased to exist, I was then supporting Burpee Home Gardens position with IGCs. So
Yeah.
again, we were crossing paths a ton, working together. And like I went on every single independent garden center tour for
Oh yeah.
years, probably for like 10 or 12 years. The ANLA Retail Roadshow, the GCA tours, Garden
Yeah.
Centers of America, and American Hort did retail tours around Cultivate, and the PPA would do tour. Like I've been
Mhm.
on so many garden center tours, and with every tour comes, some of them were multi-day tours where you'd hit 15 like really nice garden centers in
Mhm.
a city or in a region over the course of a few days on buses with other garden center owners and managers and consultants. So you'd really get, you'd get behind the scenes tours. You'd get a real you'd see the financials sometimes of these stores. So like we miss those tours. I'm not gonna lie. Our garden
Yeah.
center folks in our industry right now miss tours like that.
I think I also went on a few of those garden center tours. I did. I remember doing one was in Michigan.
Okay,
I feel like we stayed in like Dearborn Heights is like
might
a
have been a GCA tour.
might have been. Might have been. And I remember doing a couple of those, and those were like, actually, I think one of those tours is when I had first met Alec Trace from
Yeah,
Bailey's
yeah,
back when he was more of an account rep. And now he's like, one of the key leaders there on the,
oh
on
yeah,
the, on the marketing and product development side of things. And we were just sitting next to each other on the bus,
yeah.
and talking about plants. And then all this time later, he's doing, and so I probably talk to him like annually, and it's
Yeah.
great. So I do miss those tours where you could get really develop a relationship with people because you're kind of stuck on the bus next to someone, right? For
Oh, yeah.
like,
Sometimes there's like a 2-hour drive.
yeah,
And way
yeah,
back in the day, they may or may not have had cocktails on the buses. So the afternoon conversations, that drive back after dinner,
I don't,
you learned a lot about people and their stores.
I don't remember
Yeah,
maybe
and
those.
that goes back probably 15 years. Jen
Mm,
Polance would remember. Shout out to Jen Polance, former
mm,
guest on the GH Squad podcast. She and I did a lot of tours together back in the day.
yeah,
So I don't know. Let me call out my first one, which I
yeah.
saw on a tour, is Dwayne's in North Carolina, in Selma, North Carolina. You ever been there?
No,
All right. So Dwayne's used to be a home and garden showplace store. I know you know Home and
yeah,
Garden Showplace.
yeah,
That was True Values retail, like independent garden center sub chain, I guess,
yeah. You say
but all
North.
independent businesses.
Yeah, North Carolina is Dwayne's?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So the reason that one stands out, it was the first one that came to mind, and it was like a legendary garden center back in the day, and I looked them up, and they're still like a legendary garden center.
Yeah.
But they were one of the first to have a Pandora jewelry like store within a store concept. So
Mm,
like back when Pandora charms and jewelry were huge, and they were
yeah.
in malls and airports, and people were spending fortunes on Pandora jewelry. Dwayne's had a Pandora store within a store in their garden center. It's a big garden center, tons of
How did they
clothing,
score a
tons of food.
Pandora store inside a store?
Yeah, yeah,
No,
it
I
was
wonder
wild.
how did they make that happen?
They somehow, it wasn't franchise, but they had like a non-compete. So there couldn't be another Pandora business within 50 miles or something.
Mm,
They're also kind of, I don't want to say in the middle of nowhere, but they were not right in like a large metropolitan city, but they
yeah.
had a big population around them. And I'm
Mm,
guessing it was a pretty high end population. So I
yeah.
think Pandora just saw it as an opportunity, but they sold clothing, they sold food, and a ton of plants. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a boutique garden center, it was a plant nursery, but they had so much space. I mean,
Mm,
I remember pulling up and just saying, oh my gosh, like, because I do a lot of these tours with Sid Raish and the guy who founded the Garden Center Group, Robert Hendrickson, back in the day, and they would
oh
know all
yeah.
the ins and outs of these stores. They were like, "Oh yeah, Dwayne's is crushing it!" Like sales,
Yeah.
tens of millions of dollars in sales, like big
Hmm.
garden center, a lot of categories. That was the first one that jumped out of my.
Robert Hendrickson, what was he the Garden Center Group before Danny?
Yeah, he founded it.
Okay, and then
Robert
Danny
Wendy.
took over.
Yeah, he sold
Okay.
it. I think he sold
All
it
right.
to Danny. I don't know how that worked, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Robert was great. He was from Maryland.
But he was always a tour guide at the garden center at the garden center tours, right?
Yeah,
Was
a
it?
lot of times he was a guide. He just knew everything. Like
Yeah.
he knew the numbers behind a
Yeah.
lot of these
He was
stores.
he was really good. We like Danny too. I like Danny.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. That's what else was noteworthy about Dwayne's?
Like I said, just they
Yeah.
were in like everything, but they
Mm,
didn't sacrifice the plants. Like
mm,
there are garden centers that are so boutiquey that you're like, am I in a gift shop or am I in a garden center?
yeah.
And obviously, I'm a plant guy.
Mm,
My daughter's going to college next week, and we're paying for it with money that is mostly made because of plants. So I like plants.
yeah.
So sometimes I sort of I
Mm,
don't feel at home in the very boutiquey garden
oh,
centers, but when I go
yeah.
into like a straight up plant nursery, and
Mm,
then you go into like another retail area, and they have
yeah.
clothes and jewelry and all that kind of stuff, I'm fine with that.
Mm,
But Lead with the plants. That's my
Yeah.
thing.
No, that's fair. Because actually, one of mine that I might mention, I was also thinking that they didn't sacrifice the plant side. Like
Oh
there's
yeah,
some other
who's that?
stuff. Why? It's not my first. I'm gonna go with my
All
first
right,
one
all right.
because
Let's
you
hear it.
said your first, and like
Yeah,
my first is Swanson's Nursery. It's in the
Seattle.
Seattle
Yeah.
area. Oh yeah, it's in Seattle,
Hmm.
Washington. Have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I have to apologize for any of our Midwestern listeners, because I'm like a Midwestern boy, not a boy, but person, right? And I just like what I love traveling elsewhere. I
Yeah.
actually really like topography. So like I still like will pee my pants when I'm in like Seattle or Portland, where you have like houses, like you have like a house here and then a house in your view is like,
Yeah.
like behind, like but up. And then sometimes there's another house because they have
Hmm.
hills where you can put houses on.
And
And
then
I'm
behind
just,
that is a mountain and the
yeah,
biggest pine trees you've ever seen in your
biggest
entire life.
pine trees. They're so tall. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, so I'm,
Yeah.
anyways, Swanson's is in Seattle. And I think like I have been there probably 3 or 4 times over the years. And I think what is noteworthy is just like they always have like these expansive displays.
Hmm.
Like I've been there for Christmas and they go all out. I mean, they have full on Christmas decor and
Yeah.
lit up displays.
Hmm.
Or I was looking at their pictures online and they had a dinosaur themed displays and they had like 10-foot moss dinosaurs. Yeah.
So cool.
Or I was there for Christmas one, or not Christmas, but like, the holiday season. And one year they had some holiday themed animals, which I thought
Hmm.
was super cool. And there was all these kids who were like, it was like super family oriented.
Yeah.
And then the one year they had this giant train display with like, the different, like, it was just like they had a bunch of trains and like, again, like all these kids and families are there. Like we're
Hmm.
always talking about getting families involved. And so when I've gone there before, like there's all these families that are interacting with the displays. They have like a cafe so you can get a
Yeah.
coffee and
Yep.
walk around. But then like the plant selection is expansive. Like their nursery they have a huge perennial and nursery section. And it's, and like I'm not sure the style of greenhouse, but it's like
They're
glass.
big, tall glass greenhouses.
Yes. But they
Yeah.
clearly are cleaning the glass because it doesn't look aged at all. Like they
No,
really
they're
put a lot of
beautiful.
emphasis on cleanliness and neatness. And so it just like, I don't know, I feel like it's hands down one of the best ones that I've been to,
Yeah.
experience wise.
I would agree. Swanson's is up there. And there was another one, Watson's. I remember going to Swanson's and Watson's and Molbach's on a tour up
Oh, yeah.
there, and all of them were just like drop dead amazing.
Molbach, there isn't a Molbach's anymore, right? That
R.I.P.
they closed up
R.I.P.
shop.
Molbach's.
What?
R.I.P. Molbach's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to bring up Molbach's later, though, because I've got
okay.
a reason to bring them up.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So that was number one on my
Swanson's.
list.
That's cool. All right. I'm going to go like back across the country to New York State Garden Factory.
Oh,
Wow.
I've never been, but I've talked to them and I've seen them like on Google Maps, and they look pretty extensive.
They're a good ball customer, big grower. I mean, big grower, and they probably wholesale too. But that garden center is massive. And what I always remember about the first time, and I've been there a few times, first time I ever went to Garden Factory, we pulled up on our tour buses, and somebody looked out and said, well, they must be like a re-wholesaler or a holding facility for Monrovia, because there were I swear there were like 2 acres of Monrovia pots.
Oh.
Someone was like, do they grow? Are they a Monrovia, like a contract grower on the East Coast? Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And we got out and someone asked, and they were like, no, that's just nursery stock. We were like, how long are you going to have that? Like, this is crazy. Are you going to be holding that for months? And they were like, no, it's probably 2-3 weeks worth of stock. And then you realize they have 14, I want to say it at that time, 14 outdoor checkouts. Whoa. 14 lined up. Like you're at at like the front of a big box store. Like, but they were outdoor checkouts. Yeah. And then they also had the ability to do like handheld checkouts if the lines got more than 4 people long.
Oh, that's nice. So
I just remember standing there
efficient.
and just in my head, like I'd never been to a garden center with that sort of scale. And then we started talking about the population in the area. And it was, I mean, millions and millions and millions of people living around there. And
Mm,
Garden Factory was huge, big grower, like all plants. Like I
yeah.
want to say at that time, maybe they had a few like plastic pots you could buy. And probably there was probably garden decor
Mm-hmm,
in the
mm-hmm.
building, but the building was small. This was a plant nursery, and
A
it was all
factory.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Garden. I
like
mean,
that.
that's an appropriate name for it.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about the 14, like they like the efficiency of like, cause that's like still the worst thing about shopping in general is waiting in lines. And I think that there's still a lot of garden centers that, you can like, you're just kind of waiting, to buy your stuff. And granted, you're in a place that you want to be, but
Mhm.
I mean, if you could just like be checked out within like 2 to 3 minutes, like, oh, that like
Yep,
makes the experience that much sweeter.
yep.
Was there,
Big
is that
carts too. I remember their carts were the biggest carts I'd ever seen at a garden center at that time. Like 3-tiered, like they were basically you were rolling pallets around.
Mm,
They were
mm.
like,
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe there's something to that. Like the bigger the cart is, the smaller the order looks like.
I don't know. People. I don't know. They always say people will fill the cart. Like you
Yeah.
give them a bigger cart and they're gonna fill it.
Yeah.
Like that's just an old retail trick.
Was it a husband wife duo? I feel like
I know it's family owned.
I almost feel like I've been with you and them once, maybe somewhere,
Maybe,
but yeah.
maybe. I'm
Mm.
trying to think. I don't want to. I don't want to get the name wrong, but I feel like the
Oh
owner's like
yeah.
Randy something.
Yeah.
He was awesome. Like I met him 100 times. Now I feel bad. Like I should know his last name.
Dang it. That was a good one. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, my turn then. Okay. I'm gonna do now. It's no particular order because I have a few other ones, but Nick's Garden Center and Farm Market in
I do
Denver.
not know this one.
No, it was, granted, I went there in my burpee days. And so I was like, wow, because it's quite extensive. Now, here in the Western burbs, we have some really good farm market sort of
Mhm.
experiences, right? Like farm markets are really popular in the fall because you have
Yeah.
apple picking and pumpkins. And so, but this was like because it's garden center and farm market. So like to your point earlier, like they did not hold back on the plants. Like there is so many plants there, but I remember going. It was in October when I went, and the Halloween theme was crazy. So much so it was the still probably the only garden center that I've been to that has a haunted tractor ride. And yeah, so you like
That's
get on this
so cool.
tractor, and you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be kind of hokey, right? But then
Yeah.
they take you through. It's like a tunnel, and in the tunnel they have all these people that are popping out and like kind of like semi scary stuff. Like they did not hold back. Like it was a full on
Like a legit
experience.
haunted house.
Yeah. But then like you get all the pumpkins, but then again, like you have all of the fall mums and the
Where
perennials.
is this? Where is this garden center?
It's in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, I haven't looked up anymore. But yeah, it's in
Okay.
the Denver area, Nick's Garden Center and Farm Market. And I think if I remember correctly, giant parking lot, and you kind of go across this bridge, and then that's where all the farm market stuff is, like the produce and the kind of
Yeah.
random stuff there. And then you continue going, and it's like the garden center. So
Okay.
I just thought it was like a really crazy experience, but then heavy, heavy plants at the same time. So working my way east, I guess now.
There you go. There you go. All right. I'm going to go with 4. I'm just going to cheat and go with 4 garden centers. And I'm just going to roll them together and you're going to know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Callaway's, English Gardens,
Mm,
Armstrong, and Mahoney.
mm,
So Callaway's is in Texas.
yeah.
English is in Michigan. Armstrong's in California. And I think Arizona, maybe.
Which one?
Nevada.
Which one?
Armstrong.
Armstrong is, aren't they California?
They're California, but I think they've expanded. They're in
Oh,
another one of those states that doesn't have a
yeah,
lot of
probably.
population. And Mahoney's is in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
In the 4 of them, I'm just rolling them together because they're buddies. They're in a big peer group, big multi-store garden centers. I mean, Callaway's has more than a dozen stores. I think English 4 at least. Armstrong's.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
I think English is like 8
8
in the
okay.
Detroit area.
Oh, Armstrong's also owns Pike in Georgia.
Yeah, which is in Georgia.
In South Carolina.
Yeah.
So they've got dozens of stores. And then Mahoney's probably, I'm going to say 3 big stores in Massachusetts. And they're a grower. All of these grow. Well, no, I think English does not grow and
No.
Callaway's does not grow. Armstrong's huge grower, Mahoney's big grower. But they're in a peer group together. But what these stores all know how to do is market plants and all about the consumer customer experience. Like, they are good retailers, and I consider them retail first. Like I said, Armstrong's and Mahoney's grow plants, and they have great growers, great quality, top quality, but they're retailers, and they know how to move product out the front doors of those stores and generate loyalty. They're locked in on their promotions. They're the first ones to do everything that is retail facing. Their store designs are locked in. Armstrong's has some older stores in California, but they've been able to retrofit them all to sort of the same standard of the new stores. Mahoney's, I mean, I've never been in stores like the Mahoney stores that just move plants. Like, you walk in, you'd be like, wow, you guys are packed to the rafters. And they're like, yeah, this will all be gone by like Wednesday at noon. Yeah. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Don't they, I know English Gardens because I had some just training stuff with them, but I think they all are really focused on training their staff.
Yeah. They lean on their vendors, which is what garden centers should do. Like, when you can move that much product through your store, the vendors should be there to support you. And they are with these garden centers. I used to do that with Callaway's. We'd go down for vendor events and all their staff, they would like close the stores for 2 days, or it's 2 days, and half the staff would go through the first day, the other half the staff would come through the next day. And we're talking hundreds of staff.
Yeah, I did that for English Gardens actually one year. I actually did it for a couple years. And it's probably like one of the things that I did that was more fun is I do like the 1 year was 2 days and like a Saturday, Sunday, I think. And it was before the season kicked off. And they had all these vendors. And it was like pairs of vendors. And it was like me and another guy. I think he did containers, decorative containers. And we had like 12 minutes each or 10 minutes each person, right? And so like I just love presenting, and I'm an extrovert to the extreme. So I had my thing and like perfectly like boom, 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 boom. And like he does his thing. And after like a full day, he's like, oh my God, this is exhausting, And I'm like, dude, this is like, I'm like high.
You're
right
fired
now.
up.
I'm like, I'm ready to go. Yeah. Like, let's just keep going. But they gave you a chance to, probably trained like 150 people. And then that's 150 people that have like your messaging. So I think that,
people sell what they know. Like, that's proven.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel comfortable with a product and you're working retail, you're going to sell it. Like, I remember working at a garden center. I knew everything about grass seed. So I was going to sell everybody who walked in that door grass seed. Yeah.
Now, it might be challenging with some of the smaller, like for a vendor, I was able to go in 2 days. I was able to train 150 people, which is a lot. What you might do, like if a garden center was listening to this and smaller, how might you work with some of the other garden centers in the area? Like, can you pull people together, and you could then go to your vendor like, hey, like, cause at the end of the day, we're not like the garden centers aren't competing with each other. We're all competing with all of the other dollars.
Right.
Yeah. And so that might be an idea of like, let's get key people from, 8 garden centers, and then you could have a vendor come out and do like training, because then it can be like really good value time for everyone involved.
I'd also say just ask, because maybe you jump on a Zoom call. Like, if you have 8 employees and you call up one of your vendors and say, hey, we're going to all get in the break room at lunch next Thursday. Do you have someone, you call your vendor rep? I guarantee they're going to hop on and just give you 20 minutes, like overview of the product line.
Yeah.
I would just ask. You don't get what you don't ask for.
Yeah. We didn't have that back in the day.
Yeah.
No, we had video conferencing.
No, we were flying.
Yeah.
But you're right. So Callaway's English, Armstrong, and Mahoney's, love them all. Just dialed in when it comes to retail.
Yeah. All right. Are you good with those 4?
I just took 4.
You took 4. That was kind of cheating. So I'm continuing my direction east, I think, and I'm gonna go with Harold's Plants. It's in New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
It's not like as big and expansive as all the other ones, but if you Google it, Harold's what did I say? It was Harold's. Oh, it's called Harold's Indoor Outdoor Plants. And on Google, the main picture is of this like residence, I think, slash
Okay.
office, where like the whole thing is called Harold's Plants, and it's like a painting. So like when you're driving to the garden center, you see this big painting on this house.
Hmm.
And when what I recall it being, a lot of it was kind of outdoor area, but they had these different kind of displays, a lot of house plants because it's New Orleans, so it's a lot more tropical than it is like for Chicagoland. And I just felt like it had a vibe. Like I remember
Yeah.
being there, I'm like, this is a cool place. Like I like being here. Like I want to be here more often. And so it wasn't a giant place. It was like in the middle of a resident area.
Mhm.
And so I would be, if anyone's going down to like, Mardi Gras or whatever, I'd stop by Harold's.
No, that's cool. I've not heard of Harold's, but I kind of want to go to Harold. Yeah, that's cool. All right. I'm going to North Carolina. I like the Carolinas. They just have nice garden centers. Homewood Nursery. You ever been to Homewood?
No.
The Stoffragan family owns it. Joe was kind of he was big with ANLA way back in the day, management clinic speaker and stuff. But Joe, again, grower retailer, but
Where?
just,
You said North Carolina?
yeah, Homewood Nursery.
Oh, Homewood Nursery.
I think
Oh,
it's
got
still
it.
around. But they were known for like their like fall festivals and holiday stuff.
Mm.
Just a super, like, it was a pretty high end garden center, really good plant nursery, just a good family. You know, their family values were front and center in their business on
Mm-hmm.
signage and stuff. Like really took care of the customers. That was a place where I remember when I went there for the first time, I felt like I had like made it in the industry. I was earlier in my career. And it was one of those things like everyone had always talked about Homewood. And I remember going and coming back to the magazine and just being like, I went to Homewood, obviously I'm going to write a cover story on it because
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's been there in our editorial staff and it's stunning. I think by about 5 years later, everyone had been there. But
Well,
yeah,
it's because you
Homewood,
wrote about it.
it's in Raleigh. What's that?
It's because you wrote about it, and then
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, I got to go check that place out."
And that is, I did write a lot of garden center cover stories. But yeah,
Mm.
Homewood Nursery and Garden Center in Raleigh. They're definitely
That's
still
cool.
around and they're definitely still awesome.
I like that they got all those like it's like in the between all those large pine trees.
The location was
Yeah,
visually beautiful. Yeah,
that's a good spot.
all about it.
All right, I'm going back east to. You've probably been here, Minters.
Oh yeah,
Country Gardens.
and Minters is not east.
West. I said west. Didn't I
It's
say
as
west?
far west as you can get. It's in British Columbia, dude.
Yeah, I know. I should have done them. Should have then done them after
To be fair.
sponsors if I was staying regionally. Minters, yeah. So Lisa Minter, I knew her from my American Hort days.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that's the location, right? Because it's in British Columbia, and you roll up, and it's like this great looking garden center, but you have like that kind of the mountains of
Yeah.
British Columbia behind.
And it's like a botanic garden. Like,
What?
I feel like it's as much a botanic garden as it is a garden center.
Yes, they have a huge outdoor area, tons of plants. But they also grow a lot of their own stuff too. So when we're walking around, it was nice to she had feedback on like this is how things are growing. I felt like the customer service was really good there too. Like when I was waiting for Lisa, like I got asked a couple of times, like, "Oh, do you need anything?" So I thought that was like a really kind of unique large one plants. They had the a lot of different planters, like cool planters though, right? Like sometimes I feel like we can have planters, but they're kind of like hokey or kind of lame. But then I was like, oh, I kind of want to take these like 3 or 4 home to my kids because I think they're super cool. I didn't because they'd probably break in my luggage, but I thought that was a neat place. Plus, too, I think the benefit or a fun way of going elsewhere is seeing a different palette of plants. Like there's crossover, but there are things that like in British Columbia and Pacific Northwest look different. Like the same plants look different there than they do in the Midwest.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, because I love up in the Northwest because I don't know. I've gone to botanic gardens up there, and then up in some like alpine botanic gardens. And you're right.
Mm,
You like I don't know half those plants, maybe
yeah,
3/4 of those plants,
yeah.
and it's just cool. And you're always like, would this survive in Cleveland? And they're like, well, yeah. But when you
Well, I'm
go
like,
down south, they're always like, no.
yeah. And I don't know if it's the cool night because they do it. They have the cooler evenings there, but like you can do like the petunia baskets can be like big as a car,
Yeah, yeah,
in that
yeah,
area. And here, I think it's the heat stress and how they just dry out super fast. Like we don't, but
yep,
like you're just like, what the heck? Like, how
yeah.
come you get a basket that is like, like this
And you
big?
see like those municipal baskets hanging from the street poles
Yeah.
anywhere up in the Pacific Northwest, and they're insane. Any petunias. I mean, around here you need like, yeah, you need Vista
Yeah.
bubblegum and maybe a handful of others.
Hmm.
All right, I'm gonna go at 2 for 1 again. These are two garden centers that I went to that I felt like I needed to be dressed nicer than I was.
Mm, okay.
Rogers Gardens in California.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the icon. I mean, it's probably I would say Rogers might be the most iconic garden center amongst industry people.
Mm,
Just so high end. Like
yeah.
I'm talking like
Was like Southern California.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's
like,
like yeah, celebrities shop at
oh,
Rogers. And
I like the
celebrities gardeners shop at
yeah,
Rogers.
like a regular size house costs like $700,000 there. So
Yeah, 7 million. I mean, yeah, like we're talking high end, high end. Like I remember
mm.
going there on a tour and thinking, oh my gosh, I probably should have a collared shirt. And then the other one, which is now closed.
Mm,
I was looking it up because I remember they closed, and they closed like 10 years ago. But it
yeah.
was Martin Viet. And Martin Viet was in New York.
East.
And it
Yeah.
was
Okay.
in Norwich or something, one of the like a super rich suburb
Hmm.
in New York, around New York City.
Yeah.
And Martin Viet, I believe, was man, it was close to like 100 years that that garden center was in business.
Hmm.
They had the nicest like rose section you've ever seen.
Oh,
I think that I don't know why it probably was one of those things. Maybe the land was worth fortunes and
yeah.
multiple generational fortunes, but Martin Viet was about as extravagant of a garden center as I'd ever been in, and everything was like pristine. They
Mm,
had I like the staff were like gardeners, like
yeah.
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And like, that was another one where I felt like when I went there, I was like, I
Mm.
kind of have made it in the industry because I've been to Martin Viet.
Yeah. I think they used to do the burpee program. And I remember Tiffany talking about well, Martin Viet has the
Yeah,
burpee program.
yeah.
Like,
And
you
I
sure
don't think they
do.
grew anything, so they were buying it in from somebody,
Yeah.
probably one of those Jersey growers that was so good. There was like one of
Mhm.
those really good burpee growers.
Yeah. Mm,
But yeah,
mm,
those were two that I remember going to and feeling. And there was
mm,
another one too that I just couldn't bring the name to mind. Another one in California that
mm,
I remember going to, and we had like a dinner there, and it was like the fanciest dinner I'd ever
yeah.
had. And we were sitting at a garden center. I was like,
Mm,
this is pretty fancy. And at that time, I was young and it was a little out of my league there.
yeah. Hmm. Well, I'll hit you back with another duo,
Okay.
and it's more because they're both in the Minneapolis area.
Ooh, I know where
I
you're
will
going with
say
these.
what?
I bet I know where you're going with these.
Yeah. Well, don't guess in case they're not on the
Oh,
list. But like, I would say that Minneapolis, St. Paul area has great horticulture and great garden centers, even though they only have like a week of summer,
right.
right? Like,
It's
it's a
true.
really short. I joke. Don't take offense if you're from Minnesota and you're a listener and you know what I mean. You
Yeah.
just go up to your cabin anyways. But so two different spectrums of Minneapolis area is one on the larger side, Girtons, and Girtons is like they're massive, like they're like a
Hmm.
city. They're multiple city blocks. They got the landscape side, which is like all like hard goods, and then the garden center side. And I remember going there and like looking down the parking lot, and like it's all like displays and plants. And it's just like as far as you can see,
Yeah.
plants. Now, I
Yep.
will say though, a lot of times garden centers have like they got the entrance and they have like the displays and then like it goes back, right? So
Right.
like, like from the street, the garden center is this big, but
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
at from the side, it's like, this big. Whereas I think Gurdon's does it differently where it's like the long side is connected to the street. So
Yes.
all the perennials, if you're looking at the entrance, like half of that large area that goes along the street on the left side is perennials
Hmm.
and the shrubs.
Yep.
So I think that's
And
like,
then the
I don't know.
annuals are on the right side.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like it doesn't actually, if I remember correctly, and you got the greenhouse and tropical area, it doesn't go back that far. It's just like,
No,
it's like,
there's a greenhouse, but they grow behind it.
yeah, 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 you're
And it
right. Yeah,
used
but
to
like
be
from a,
down. I feel like it used to be either up. I think it was up,
mm,
but now they've leveled it. Because I was just someone from there was a couple of people from Gerton's at Customer Day a few weeks ago,
yeah,
and I said, I remember you guys used to have this like weird trolley that would bring plants up and down. And they're like, nah, we've leveled it since
mm,
I was there
mm,
20 years or
mm.
15 years ago.
Yeah, it's been, so I think that was like, that was just like a really fun experience. But they,
It's a stunning. It's like one of those ones that you pull up to and you're like, oh my gosh, this is huge.
yeah, yeah, and they do a ton of business, which is crazy though, because they're so big and there's so much, and there are several other garden centers there that are also really big. But there's a ton of horticulture, and so the
Yep.
other one that I don't think is, I think it's in the suburbs, but Paul's Market.
Oh, okay.
It's PAHLS
I've
Market.
seen that name now that you spell it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I went there. And what stood out, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other garden centers that have done this, but it always like stood out in my mind is like when we went there for Burpee, the gentleman that would walk us around, and I'm blanking on his name, but they did a lot of Burpee home gardens back in the day. But they had this one big greenhouse that had all of these like mixed combo pot, like big ones. Like it was like 12, 14, 16-inch containers, moss baskets. But there wasn't like a consistency. Like they all looked randomized and custom. And I was like, what's going on here? And he's like, oh, like this is an event we do where it's like people can come in and make their own baskets. And then like there's like a wine vendor or whatever that comes in. So people sip wine or a cocktail, and then they make their own basket and they pay for like a price. And that includes like 8 plants or whatever. And then he's like, and then we grow them for 12 weeks or whatever it is. And then we call people, be like, hey, your basket's ready to go. It's already been paid for. They come in, they pick it up, but then you know what they do? They also buy a bunch of other stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like it's a great interaction. So I was like, oh, love the model, love the concept. And that was at Paul's Market where Bob Cashman took me to that
Yep.
back in the day.
Yep. I was going to shout out Bob because I used to go just about every year. I mean, his territory was independent garden center territory.
Yeah.
Like if you were selling to or marketing to IGCs, you went and traveled with Bob.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was good. I actually remember like, cause like, when I was younger, when I was like first out of college or whatever, I didn't do coffee and I did those monster drinks. Right. And so like, I would like, you drive around with a sales rep. And so like, he was just like, why are you drinking those?
Bob was old
They
school. He
are
wouldn't-
like intoxicating the smell. And so I traveled with him probably 6 or 7 times
Mhm.
over like the course of Burpee. And
Yeah.
every time he's just like, oh my God, like he just could not handle that energy drink smell. I mean, I
Bob
don't
was
think I
kind of
could
a
either.
quiet guy, so your presence was probably like overwhelming, and you get a couple monsters added to that equation, and
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
was probably like,
Yeah, he's probably like getting all
"Why you retired?"
buzz from like
He said he
from the-
retired because he didn't want to travel with you anymore.
Probably. I thought about like, when they did his like kind of call out retirement thing, I was like, oh, I should, toast him with a monster, be like, hey, I bet I was the guy that you really remember because of like that obnoxious smell, right? Like people say they
Yeah.
remember smells and tastes really well.
Mhm.
Like he like remembers this like repulsive sort of interaction with me based on that monster drink.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Well, I don't know. Do you have any more? I was just gonna do like just a quick shout out to Poinsettia events, and that's where I
Oh.
said Molbachs, God rest their soul,
Yeah. No, I don't.
and Hicks.
I'm pretty good for now.
Molbachs and Hicks to me were like, I remember going to poinsettia open houses at those garden centers, and I mean hundreds of varieties, like every that every kind of poinsettia you could ever imagine, and just absolutely just overboard holiday open houses, and that was a lot of fun, and they were well known within their communities for those open houses, and it was
Why
just
didn't-
Good way to
Mo-
show off what they had.
Mobilex, didn't they have like a crazy Christmas business? Like they had more Christmas ornaments and Christmas stuff than like any retail
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
operation you
mean,
could
the
go to.
most that I'd ever seen of
Yeah.
like decorated trees
Yeah. Trees,
with theme.
ornaments,
Yeah.
stuff, like decorative things. It was all kind of tied in with the poinsettias. So that way, like, oh, well, I'm going to buy these things. I got to buy some poinsettias too.
Yep. Yeah. They did such a good job. All right. Should we get to topic number 2 real quick?
Yeah. I'm curious on what you have. Yeah. I thought this was because, okay, can I introduce it?
Yeah. Go for it.
So like, because Bill was like, oh, we don't have Mason, and Mason talks a lot. So like, we can talk more without Mason. And, and like what ideas. And so like the first 2 things was like garden centers, because, we've been to a lot of stuff. And so I was kind of thinking my early days too. And I was like, I started thinking about like a couple of mistakes that I made. And like, not everyone, I think a lot of people hide their mistakes,
Yeah.
and I have made a ton of mistakes, and everyone knows all my mistakes that I've made. And so I don't like, I kind of celebrate different things that I've done. And usually there's a funny spin to it. So I was like, oh, is there anything Bill and could think of where you did something that you thought would work out and like it didn't work out?
The one, and we're going to stay, I'm sticking to work related because I've done a
No,
lot of
yeah.
stuff that hasn't worked out. But,
Yeah.
I don't know, the one that immediately popped in my head, and I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus here, but we did a event. So when I was living in Chicago, working for Ball, we did an event in Cleveland. So I'm from Cleveland, but I was living in Chicago, and we were doing this. Ball Publishing did this event. It was like a grower and retailer event.
Yeah.
And Ball was exhibiting. So
Okay.
I volunteered to drive the box truck full of plants from Chicago to Cleveland. And I was like, well, I know the drive. I make it all the time. It's an easy drive, whatever. I'll drive the box truck. Well, when I went to pick up the box truck at the rental place, our trade show coordinator, Therese, who I love, had set it all up so that I was going to go pick up this box truck and then bring it back to the greenhouse, get it loaded up, and hit the road to Cleveland. Well, when I got there, they were like, well, we don't have the box truck that you requested. We have another one because we needed a refrigerated one. That was like a big deal. It needed to be a reefer unit because we had plants in it.
Yeah.
And they had to sit overnight before we could unload them. So I said, yeah, it's fine. Just give me whatever you got. We'll make it work. And they said, well, it's bigger. And I said, well, fine. That's not bad. Well, they gave me a big refrigerated truck, which I hopped in and drove to the greenhouses at Ball. Remember pulling up and everyone was like, wow, that's a big truck. And I was like, yeah, like we're going to have to figure out, just make sure things don't fall. So we were like strapping the carts to the walls and hit the road to Cleveland and got on the turnpike and realized like I couldn't go over 65. Like there was like a governor on this truck. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to speed anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big truck, big. And then I got to the hotel in downtown Cleveland, and we know about driving in downtown cities and big vehicles. It's not always easy. And I pulled in, so I was like, where can I park this thing? And they're like, oh, that's a big truck. And they were like, I thought you were bringing a box truck. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of a straight box truck. And they were like, well, you have to park it in this lot across the street and just call the lot company because you're going to need to pay for more than one spot for that.
Yeah.
So I pulled in and I took out a pole, like one of like a guardrail kind of pole, because the truck was very big to put in this spot. So then, I don't know, I feel like the next day our trade show coordinator came and she was like, oh, where's the truck? I said, it's out there across the street in that lot. And she was like, oh my God, that's the truck you drove here? So to make a long story short, after I had driven it back, we realized that you absolutely needed a CDL to drive this. Effectively a semi.
I was wondering if that's where you were going.
To anywhere, and I did not have a CDL. The rental company never asked, and they probably should have. So lesson learned. That was very humbling. Never dealt with that damage to that guardrail. But
there's probably damage there before.
Yeah, but that to me was humbling because I don't know. I was pretty much messed that up. And the other one that I thought of is I once gave a horticultural talk at a seminar in Las Vegas, and I was young and I was given the 8 a.m. time slot. So I gave a talk to one person, and it was very humbling. I've given many talks since then.
Nice.
That one, I just remember like that was a very bad move.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what
Well,
do you got? I know you've got good ones.
okay. So I'll play off of like this wasn't on my original one, but like where you said the one person
Mhm.
is details have never been my thing necessarily, and so I had once like a garden center wanted me to come and talk to their group about burpee. I was like, heck yeah, I was like young. When you want to do it, great, great. I set it up. It was like in March or April, one of the two. It was like the Saturday before Easter. And I actually flew to the St. Louis area. And I was like, I didn't think about it until like, I was talking to Elizabeth and she was like, wait, you're going to be gone for like Easter weekend, or like
Easter.
at least part of the weekend? I was like, yes, maybe. Is that so anyway, so I'm like, I go down there and there was like 5 people. So, you go all in, right? When you're doing these
Oh yeah.
customer visits and stuff. And so, but like, then I was like looking back, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I missed the Saturday of like the Easter weekend. Like our daughter was like 2, and then, but I did get to fly first class for the 45-minute flight from St. Louis to Chicago. It was the first time I
There's
had first
nobody
class.
on that flight.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I guess maybe make sure you're clarifying,
Yeah.
you know,
Or maybe you look at a calendar that has holidays, Mark.
yeah. Yeah. So that was an interesting one. One that always comes to mind, and this would be good for like other people is like, if you're traveling, right? And so this is my burpee days too, is if you're traveling to other places, you should always like, if you're visiting a garden center or traveling with a sales rep, like get a feel for like what products are ideal for that. Because
Okay.
I was in this garden center and it was like a kitchen and there was like the Pacific Northwest. And, I had this spiel. Like I felt like I was like nailing the spiel. Oh, like, yeah, we got these tomatoes here, small fruited, new thing. We got the boost program, this, that, the other. And then we got these like large beefsteak tomatoes. And I'm like, oh, and you're going to love this one. And like, it's like 14 ounces. And the guy's like, son, which like, no matter what is said
It's
after
not
that,
gonna be good.
like it's not going to be good. Right. So he's like, son, I don't know if you've ever been here before, but we don't have enough sunlight and heat for beefsteak tomatoes. Like nothing over 75 days
Yeah.
is going to even like turn color. And I'm like,
Oh.
deer in the headlights. Look, I'm like, So are there any other specifications
Look through this
that,
list and tell me what might work for you.
right? So yeah, that I think we still like, over time did some stuff there, but it was just
I've walked in and pitched things that were completely irrelevant to that business.
yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, if you're with a sales rep, you're like, man, you could have like prepped me just a little bit. Like sometimes I feel like sometimes they would know these customers so well that they would kind of throw you to the wolves and see what happened.
Yeah.
Like I'm not calling anyone specific out, but sometimes I'd walk into meetings and be completely like outclassed. Like the grower would be like, oh yeah, thanks for that sales pitch. Now I just want to, rake you over the coals about the fact that you guys couldn't supply X product last year. And I'm like, wow, it has nothing to do with what I'm here for. But I will hear you and I will take that information back and perhaps we can fulfill that order better this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was interesting. Another one that I got kind of in my, I guess a lot of stuff happened in my burpee days. That's what came to mind. Grow is just like a big haze. I'm sure there's lots of weird stuff for Grow It. Mason would be a better one for those conversations. But I remember like trade shows are always challenging because like you can plan things out, but then the execution of getting the right things there doesn't always happen. Yeah. So like the plant material, like some of it like grows the way you want to, some of it doesn't because it's all like off season sort of things. And I was down at
especially with vegetables. I remember like, I remember some things that came in at times.
Well, but this is because we did flowers for a little bit too. And so this was it was a show down in Mobile. What was that show
Gulf
called?
Golf
States show. Yeah. So I was down there and I'm looking at like all of the burpee tags that we have and all the flowers that we have and nothing matched up at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the show's like tomorrow,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, oh shit. So then I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, really burpee is just a marketing thing anyway. So I'll just put like, I'll match color of plant with color of tag. No one will notice.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I do. And then like literally every person that would walk by, I'd be like, oh, have you heard of burpee? This, that, the other. Like, this isn't an Angelonia. But did you know that
Plant
this
people look
isn't?
that close,
Yeah,
especially at a
this
trade show.
isn't
They want to call you out.
an impatient. You have an impatient tag with a. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, and then I'm like, like literally the whole time, I just like explained why I had the wrong tag and the wrong plant,
Yeah.
and then there was like no one cared about anything else other than the fact there was like
You should have just pulled the
wrong plant.
tags and just set them on a table. Because the
Yeah.
worst answer is, it doesn't really matter. It's just a marketing program. Then they will just walk past you.
Yeah.
Plant people are plant people.
So that was kind of.
That's good. I've definitely been at trade shows and unboxed the plants and looked at the boxes of tags and been like, yeah, we got nothing that matches.
Yeah. So that was like a few things where like, I was like, oh,
I like them.
I'm sure I've done like way more dumb stuff. I know I have.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I learned from them. I mean, I don't make the same mistake that often.
Yeah.
Although my wife might disagree. But again, that's personal. That's not work.
Yeah. I do. This was a mistake, but I remember I have, when I've helped other people with their present, this one thing I've learned is like presenting is so much easier when like you develop the content.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I was Darwin, I had suggested or helped some of our staff members present, and some people that like were kind of newer to presenting. And so I was like, okay, well, why don't you come up with the slides and I can assist, because through that process, they will know the content and they'll be able to. And so I remember like my second year at Ball, and when I was doing perennial supply chain, and there was this meeting with one of the growers that was pretty well known in the Ball system, and that grower wasn't part of the perennial supply chain.
Okay.
And so my boss was out, and they're no longer here at Ball, so you don't have to guess necessarily, but they weren't in town. So they're like, oh, Seth, can you kind of do like the pitch that I always do, but like it's more of an informative thing because they're not part of the program. Right. And I was scared shitless because it wasn't like my song and dance. And so, so like, I'm like scared. I'm pretty sure I got hives because I hadn't done any like public speaking, and I was like so scared. Right. So I did it, and, and so I'm like, oh, this, that, the other. And then I fell into this thing is like, I don't want to be repeatatory here, but this, that, the other. And then like, oh, now I'm going to be repeatatory, and I'm going to come back to this. I said it a bunch of times. Right. And then I was like, I feel like I walked out the room. I was like, I nailed that. Right. Yeah. And then the day goes along, and I'm leaving, like walking past the conference room, and I'm like, shit, repeatatory is not a word.
It's not a word. That's so good.
It's repetitive.
Repetitive.
Not repeatatory. I was just like, my God. Like, I was like, the room was filled with like really smart people.
Oh, yeah.
And someone was like, yeah, we got this young kid from U of I. He's great. And then like they all left. They're like, what the fuck was that guy? He doesn't know English.
I love it. But you know what? Here you are, still to this day with an office at Ball. It must have gone okay.
Must have been, but I was just like, oh my God.
That's actually hilarious. Oh, that is
I'm
so
sure.
Good.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone else has said like a wrong word. I feel like the key is just saying things.
Everyone has. Everyone has. You just got to go with it confidently.
Yeah. That's why I have said that I'm better live because I can make stuff up and like make words up that sound fine. Like if I'm in front of a bunch of people, but then like video, and then someone be like, Seth, I don't know if that's a word. I'm like, it's a word. Look it up.
It's a word now.
Yeah.
No, that's good. All right. In the essence of time, you want to spin the plant wheel?
Yeah, let's do it.
I got the plant wheel queued up. I hope it's a plant that we know. I feel like Mason, well, you're a horticulturist. Mason sometimes saves me on this.
Yeah, well, because he has he had a garden center.
He's like, oh, yeah, we grew cosmos in 6-packs. Uh-oh.
What?
Uh-oh. This is right in your wheelhouse.
Right in my wheelhouse.
I'm gonna start because I
Okay.
know you got a lot to say, but I'm gonna start
Okay.
by saying that just this morning, my wife said, "You know those plants in the corner of the house? What are they called again?" I said, "Echinacea." She said,
Mhm.
"You know what? The goldfinches are all over those things." I've got
Oh,
a lot of Echinacea. Cheyenne spirits. I got sombreros. I've got years worth of plant
yeah.
samples of Echinacea, all, and I've been putting them all in the exact same place. And
Mm.
they are absolutely huge and beautiful, every color known to man. Yeah, I love
You
Echinacea.
you might be like a new like area that we could be pulling plants from because you're just got all the plants, pollinating each
Oh
other.
yeah,
You
they're
probably
all
have
mixed
some.
up, and
Yeah.
seed, vegetative. It doesn't matter. They're all there.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, echinaceas. I think it's probably one of the top 3 to 5 perennials sold in the U.S. I would assume.
But relatively new in terms of like the cool ones. Like I feel like when I sold perennials at a garden center,
Yeah,
we
man.
had like purple. We had like
How
Magnus.
how long ago was that though?
25 years.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot happens. I mean, like I was in a garden center 20 years ago when the orange meadow bright, which
Yeah.
was the first orange echinacea that was developed from the Chicago
That was
Botanic
Chicago
Gardens.
Botanic.
Yeah. And that had came out and that was like people were gaga-ing over
Hmm.
it. And it wasn't like it was a really ugly plant. Like
Hmm.
it was rough, but it was the first one
But it
and it
wasn't
wasn't
purple.
yeah, it wasn't purple or white. And so yeah, I mean, but
But in
the
in
yeah,
the
you
world of horticulture, 20 years is pretty new. Like
I don't know. Is it? I feel like
in a big
I mean,
class.
but
I don't
but
know.
but what it's changed in the last say like 12 years is that you had a lot of other breeders participating in echinacea and
Mhm.
bringing a lot more colors that have a lot better habit, that have a lot
Yeah.
better longevity, flower forms, color ranges.
First year flowering stuff.
Yeah, first year flowering, like Terra Nova, I think probably did lead the way.
Mhm.
But then you had Pan American Seed that started doing stuff, Darwin Perennials. Danzinger does their vegetative. And then you have Gen X coming out of Europe as
Mhm.
well. So there's, some might say that there's too many echinacea. There's probably like over 100 varieties
Mhm.
on the market. But I think the nice thing though is because, gardening is so regional and everyone's climate is slightly different that you could look at all the things and find a
Okay.
series or a grouping of ones that do really well for you.
Mhm.
Right. Like one series might do really well in the South and a different series might do really well in the Pacific Northwest. And I think that's the value of going to the plant trials, like the
Sure.
Michigan tour just wrapped up. Like go to the Michigan tour, see what works there, or whether it be Smith out in the Pacific Northwest and look at their trials so you can see, the right mix for you.
Yeah. No, it's a good
Um,
point.
but it's a good pollinator for butterflies and bees as well. But it's like you said, birds,
Yeah.
and then you can leave them up for fall interest, and the birds will continue to eat the seed heads
Yep.
throughout the
Just
fall
pick
and
at 'em.
winter.
Yep. They just
Yeah,
whack them back and they come out the next year twice as big and twice as awesome.
yeah, yeah. We were actually I was part of a nursery tour, or sorry, a local nursery kid came out to Ball earlier this week and we're walking through and they really liked the new doubles that
Mhm.
Darwin had released because doubles, say 5 years ago, weren't very good plants
No,
across
they
the
were a little
board.
ratty.
Yeah. And
I
then
was actually
Darwin,
gonna ask you how doubles are, like, in terms of sales or if
oh, I mean, like a lot of
mhm.
like the new ones, like Darwin released their double scoop deluxe
Yeah.
and the habit was so much better
Okay.
and high flower count. So I think, those are exceptional. I think there's some other series that have pretty, I'm biased because I did help
Right.
launch the Double Scoop Deluxe, but I would say the other series are probably still better than the doubles from 5 years ago.
Than the previous
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think that you can, I think that, some people get upset because they're a double, they're not a great pollinator
Mm.
necessarily, but that's fine. Like you need a good array of plants in your garden and they're I think they're exceptional garden performers.
Okay. Maybe I'll give them another shot. I feel like I had doubles
Doubles?
early on and the flowers were just a little ratty. I don't know. They weren't my
Oh,
favorites. But I love
Yeah, like
Echinacea. Echinacea is in
yeah.
my top 5 favorite plants of all time.
Well, we had double scoop from like I don't know a decade ago,
Yeah,
and they were not great
right.
plants because you had like long spindly flowers, and
Yeah,
you'd have like
right. I
maybe
say they
five
didn't flower
flowers
that
per
much,
plant.
but they're better now. Good.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
I'll try them again.
you should, you should.
Cool. Well, that was a good one on the plant wheel. That was perfect
Yeah,
for you.
nice. Thank you for doing that for me.
It's random. I swear. All right. We got to do some quick shout
Oh,
outs and hot takes, unless you have anything else to close with.
no, I don't. We can
Okay.
move on.
My shout out is to Ball Seed Technical Services specialist Chris Ferguson. Chris is a great guy, has a
Yep.
wonderful Kentucky accent.
Love his
Good dad,
accent.
good husband, just a great dude. But what he did this week is give me a reason for getting on TikTok. I've
Did he
never been on
dance?
TikTok.
Is it a dance? A TikTok dance?
No, there was no dancing. But
Oh,
but many people have said for probably the last 5 years, oh, when are you guys being like Bob Publishing or Tech
yeah.
Team or anyone, when are you going to do something on TikTok? And I'm always like, never, like, not my thing. But we found a reason, I think. So Chris
Hmm.
has a kind of his own plant science laboratory in his house and has been making some quick videos, just, helping people understand
Hmm.
like plant diagnostics or some interesting things about plants that you can see under a microscope, and we're just going to post those to TikTok as I don't know, Ball Tech Chris Lab or something like
Oh,
that. So
is it like a hidden lab? Does you go through like a secret door
no,
to get to his lab? Oh,
no, I don't think so. I think it's just his basement.
it'd be kind of cool if you could
It
do
would
if
be.
maybe Ball Publishing could fund a
Ooh, secret
secret
lab.
door. So
Ooh,
then in the TikTok video, you're like, oh, you think it's a bookcase, but actually it's a
yeah,
secret lab.
push this button, push this
Yeah,
lever, and go in. That'd be
yeah.
cool.
I feel like you get more views that way. So
Probably. We're
yeah,
probably not going to get a ton of views on TikTok. It'll be on
mm,
Instagram and Facebook and stuff too.
mm,
So.
yeah.
But it's an
Interesting. Well, that's
excuse to
cool.
be on. It's an excuse to tell a story, right? We were talking about
Mhm.
marketing, and I
Yeah.
can follow a bunch of garden centers now. I already have.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't TikToked that much. I do. I have it so that way, like I know Ball has done some things, and then I can look,
Yeah,
and then my kids are like,
with Wave and
"What?
stuff.
You have TikTok?"
Same
I'm
thing.
like, "Just stay out of here." Like,
Yep.
stay in your lane. Yeah.
All right. You got any shout outs?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I do have a hot take.
Yeah.
My hot take is that gardening is way more cool than we in the industry think it is. Like, I feel like we're too critical
Mm,
because I will just give one example. I posted a short on Instagram earlier this week about
yeah.
Calceolaria, which
Okay.
is the old pocketbook plant. Select has got a
Hmm.
new one. We saw it at
Hmm.
spring trials.
Yep.
Whatever. Calceolaria video, 40 seconds or something, has gotten more than 10,000 views between Instagram and Facebook. So Meta has delivered more than 10,000. I haven't checked today. It's probably like 12,000.
What's the video like? Is it
It's
of?
literally Chris Beatty's, Jen, and me saying, "Look, here's a new Calceolaria. So it used to be called pocketbook plant. This one's yellow. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's it. Like that is it."
Interesting.
And when I looked
Mm,
at the analytics on it, like we have followers, right? People in the industry who follow Grow
yeah.
Talks, or whatever. 85% of the views have come from non-followers. So that's just random
Mm,
garden people on Instagram who saw it and liked it. So
yeah. Huh.
10,000, 10, 12, probably more than that. That's a lot of views in our industry from on just a plant.
Well, I wonder how many views like you get all the garden influencers, like how many views total. Because I agree with you. Like I actually I listen to in Chicagoland, they have
Mhm.
Q101. I bet
Yeah.
you used to listen to them back in the day when you were in
Mhm.
Chicago. But one of the personalities, they were just talking about gardening. How she like planted a bunch of stuff this year and this, that, the other. I'm like, hell yeah, like gardening's
Yeah.
cool. And I'm like,
People talk about it. People love it. Like everybody wants to show off their garden. Like people brag about their plants. Like we know
mhm,
this. I think,
mhm,
anybody who deals with consumers and retailers knows this. But I think sometimes in the industry or in the big hort side of the industry, we just don't realize how cool the
mhm.
products are that we sell. And people love them.
I wonder, do we need you think there's like a chance for garden clubs to be like at that, like you don't call it a garden club, you call it something else. Like, would people go to that or like even like we have our local festival for Elburn
Mhm.
coming up,
Yeah.
and should I don't think they have a plant display. Like should there be plants involved somehow? I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a different topic for a different day.
Okay.
'Cause I got a million thoughts on that.
Mm, mm,
And we've
okay.
seen it work. Like we've seen excitement around plants in big ways.
Hmm.
And there are some garden centers out there generating huge amounts of excitement around
Yeah.
plants.
Yeah. All
So I
right.
think it's happening. Sometimes I think we don't see it. Like we're
Mm,
not looking for it. And sometimes we're like, I don't know, or people don't seem
yeah.
to like plants much. And it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
they do.
Okay. All right. I'm down with that.
Right.
My hot take real quick is that like the summer went too fast because my
Yes.
kids started school this week and it's like such bull. I'm like
Yeah.
really bummed that like the summer's gone and they don't last long enough. Like I feel like we just need like longer summer. And then more people would plant, maybe more people would garden because they'd have a longer summer to do it.
Yeah. Because now with school starting back up, I mean, people are checked out. Like, yeah, until fall. I mean, I feel like Halloween, there's already Halloween stuff in the stores. So,
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing
yeah,
that fall is just too soon. Like they want to make us do fall stuff in August. Like save
it's,
fall through to September. Come on.
it's true. No, it's so
So,
true.
yeah.
All right. We better close this up. I think, yeah, I think Mason was probably worried we weren't going to be able to fill the entire podcast, just the two of
Yeah,
us,
you'll have
but I
to
think you did
edit
a
some
good job.
stuff out. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. I think you'd be proud.
I think so.
All right. Well, that's it for episode 33, Dr. Reed. Have a glorious weekend.
I will.
Hopefully your kids will be getting out of school here any minute and
Mhm.
they'll be home for their first weekend of school year.
Yeah.
Got
Okay.
any big
Cool. Well,
plans?
you have a good one.
You got any big plans for the weekend?
Now, if we get any sun, me and Elliot are going to come over and try to do some videos in the garden because
Cool.
I want to do some videos specifically aimed at teachers.
Yeah.
And Elliot said he'll edit them for me because he's into editing videos.
That's
So it's
actually
kind of like a
really
little
cool.
bit of like, and then we have a program on our computer from Ball, like where you can do like video editing.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of excited about that. So if I can do 2 to 3 short videos and have him have fun with editing, and they'll be
That's
like
so
sort of like
cool.
medium quality, but
It'll probably be better than what you and I could do. Because he's a
yeah,
kid and he
probably.
has that view. He has that vision of what
Hmm.
people want to see. Because I'm sure he
Yeah,
consumes plenty of digital content.
so much. Yeah. So I
Like
think
anything.
and he'll probably have ideas. Always like
Yeah.
listening to kids and how they like, oh, on YouTube, you should do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, all right, yeah, let's do it.
Yep. No, I think that's
So
awesome. Well, good.
yeah,
I hope you get sun.
thank
In
you.
our house, we have an 18th birthday tomorrow.
Man,
18.
18. That's crazy, man.
Yes,
That's,
it is.
that's,
All right. We're going to not talk about that because she's still a baby in my eyes. All right. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. You can listen on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. Best way to get in touch, find out what we're up to, is by following us on Instagram at GH Squad Pod. We are not on TikTok and we will not be on TikTok. You can reach out to us individually. Lastly, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and all that. Be a friend, tell a friend about the show, and have a fantastic weekend. We will be back next week, and maybe we'll have Mason. Maybe we won't.
exciting.
Who knows?
I'm into it.
All right. See you, man.
All right, later. Bye.